Hello nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom Supplemental Edition for the week of February 26th, 2018. For those of you that don't know, the Supplemental is the video that we do that catches all of the other stuff that's super nerdy but doesn't really fall into our other categories. Oftentimes that just means we talk about stuff that's happening all over YouTube. This week, the YouTube stuff is pretty minimal. So, without any further ado, let's hit up that music intro.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Before we jump into the supplemental news, let's jump into this week's sponsor. This week's sponsor is the advertiser-friendly shirt over on the Teespring store. That's teespring.com/stores/generallynerdy. That is where you can get this beautiful advertiser-friendly shirt. It's the shirt that says, I don't do this for the money, man. I do this for your mom. Jump over again to teespring.com/stores/generallynerdy and you can get your very own advertiser-friendly t-shirt. Now let's jump into some news. So, we do sometimes have enough news to talk about novels and literature. This week we had one bit, so I'm putting it in the supplemental. It has to do with The Last Jedi novelization. The novel is going to be, it has been written, it is about to be released. It has been written by Jason Fry, who was working in close tandem with Rian Johnson, so that all of the information, so he had exposure to early drafts of the script and information that got cut for time or content or whatever, is going to find its way into this book, has found its way into this book. And we know that because the opening line was put out there, I think it was by Jason himself, on the Twitters, and the opening line of the book reads like this. Luke Skywalker stood on the cooling sands of Tatooine, his wife by his side. Now, take that in for a second. Luke Skywalker's wife. In the original canon, which is no longer canon, but the original Lucas canon, Luke was married. Luke eventually did get married to Mara Jade, who was a hand of the Emperor. She was one of the Emperor's guards. The Emperor had her brainwashed. Luke unbrainwashed her, and they fell in love, and they had baby Ben Skywalker, who is now Ben Solo. So it's not out of the question for Luke to have a wife. Now, one thing Rian Johnson likes to do is do side stories and flashbacks and dream sequences, and so that means this potentially is just a dream sequence that Luke is having at the beginning of the story in the novelization. Only time will tell, and that time is coming up real soon because it's March 3rd. Wait. By the time this is posted, this book will be out, so we'll know a lot more about it. So March 3rd, this book came out, because this is the supplemental, so we're posting all the way a week away from today. If you guys are jumping into the store to buy this as soon as it hits those shelves, what did you think of the book, or what do you think of it so far? If you have not finished it, please avoid spoilers for about a week since it is a book. We can't assume people are going to read it in a couple of days. So very interesting. I'm excited about this book. Definitely going to pick it up next time I'm at the bookstore, because I really like Star Wars books. I have quite a few of them. I would show you, but my house is a mess right now.
So here's something you don't see me doing very often, is the run and gun style vlog, unless we're at like a convention or something. But before I posted this week's supplemental, I wanted to go over a couple of things that have happened since I recorded on Sunday. So first and foremost is Honest Trailers. We got an Honest Trailer for the Academy Awards, which the Oscars are happening this coming Sunday, so by the time this is posted, so tonight, as you're watching this, tonight, the Oscars will be on, and we will get to see some, I don't know, some Hollywood politics at work, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Some legitimate good movies, mostly movies that are going to win because they played the right political notes. And I'm a big Oscars watching nerd, so this year's not going to be any different for me. I'm going to end up watching the damn Oscars, as much as it pains me to say that. So yeah, and we're gonna get into a couple other things in the supplemental, and then we'll come back to this.
Anyway, we're moving on down the road. We're moving over to The Simpsons and the Olympics. Now, there's been some memes recently that have shown things that The Simpsons have predicted. Fox being bought out by Disney, Donald Trump becoming president, a few different things. Now they're getting crazy specific. There was a 2010 episode where Marge and Homer were competing in the Winter Olympics, which then was in Canada, and it showed them on the American curling team winning gold over Sweden, which literally just happened in Sochi, or not in Sochi, in Pyeongchang this year in the Winter Olympics. So crazy specificity with the Simpsons predicting stuff. So Graining and company, I don't think Graining really has much to do with that show anymore now that it's not very good. But yeah, still very, very crazy. But that's where we're leaving that one, because my head is about to explode just by thinking about it. And we're kicking on over to Deadpool. Deadpool has a card game coming out. I couldn't find the release date, but it looks really freaking hilarious. So it's called Deadpool versus the World. It's very, very similar to Cards Against Humanity, but there's a couple of pretty key differences. First, the dealer card, the card. So if you play Cards Against Humanity, you get the black card that says it's the insert the blank card. It's blank happens and blank and blank blank blank. And then each of the other players has to play a white card that fills in those blanks. So if it's a 2 blank card, they play 2 cards, so on and so forth. This one's going to be different in that the dealer card is going to be an illustration of Deadpool doing something ridiculous, very not kid-friendly things from the pictures I've seen and you're seeing now on the screen. But yeah, very, very funny things. And then the player cards are going to be mostly set, but they're going to have a blank or 2, which the player then fills in for that specific illustration. So and it comes with markers, the dry erase markers, so you can erase your write-in portion of the card. So there's a couple of different layers to it which makes the replay value different. Because I've played some Cards Against Humanity games, very, very few that turn out this way. But there's been 1 or 2 that are like, all right, I've heard all of these jokes about a dozen times before. This one makes each playthrough fairly unique because you hand write in a portion of your response to whatever the illustration is. So that's really cool. Again, I couldn't find the release date. If I can find the release date by the time this goes up, I will definitely put that in the description. But we are moving on down the road. So Jared Dines, we've talked about him in the past. He's a musical YouTuber. Posted a video that was just really cool, worth mentioning. As Philip DeFranco would say, the Week in Awesome style. It's 7 YouTubers and make one song, so it's Jared Dines and Terry T and Rob Scallon and a couple other ones I hadn't really heard of before, all getting together and doing one metal song. It's actually not a bad metal song. It's not the best by any stretch, but it's not bad at all. It's definitely worth a listen. Link in the description. Go check it out. Let's talk about what you think about it. I dig it. I totally dig it.
So another thing that's happened since I recorded last Sunday, and it probably actually was happening as I was recording on Sunday, was Kevin Smith had a heart attack. this kind of crystallized a couple of things in my head about, I don't know, the general health of the culture. We as nerds don't stereotypically have the best health. Like, we don't really take care of ourselves as well as we probably should. So I've been toying with the idea for, I don't know, since I started the channel, with how I can do something involved with just general nerd life and cooking and just easy ways to take care of yourself. And I feel like that was a little bit of a kick in the pants to kind of move that idea further along. So keep your eyes open, because again, this was not entirely thanks to Kevin Smith, but again, spurred further on by Kevin Smith. So keep your eyes peeled. Sorry, I go back and forth when I'm not scripted, but keep your eyes peeled, definitely. I'm gonna it's gonna be a new series, and I'm gonna call it Renaissance Nerd, and we're gonna go over how to cook for yourself and just general things to be in better health and to be, I don't know, to function more efficiently and to function more succinctly with your surroundings. Again, it's going to be called Renaissance Nerd, and it's a new series that I'm working on, and I still am working out logistics. I've been working out logistics for a little while on what exactly I can film and how I'm going to get to filming it. But again, rambling, so let's get back into the supplemental edition of this week's Week in Nerdom.
Dines and Scallon, though, really can't do much wrong in my eyes, even though Dines is really hooked on this gent thing, and I just don't see gent living in the musical community for that much longer. But yeah, so that's the end of that one. We're moving next over to Samsung. Just had a press event in which they showed off their new Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. So a couple of really noteworthy, because we talk about photography on here, we definitely talk about nerdy stuff, which is tech related. So this is a combination of those two things. The S9 Plus has dual cameras like the Apple iPhone 10, though one of them is a wide angle camera, one of them is a telephoto camera. They are both on 12 megapixel sensors, and they have a mechanical shutter that allows for two different f-stops. You have an f-stop of 2.4 and an f-stop of 1.5, which is crazy. Or not f-stop, that's the aperture setting. But still, it's a mechanical shutter. So you set your aperture to f2.4 and f1.5. So that's huge. That's like, I have lenses that aren't that fast. Another interesting bit about the new software, the new hardware rather, is that the sensors can do 960 frames per second. That is insane. Apparently the Galaxy S8 could do 240, which I was unaware. But there's a caveat to that 960, because they don't want you to make these giant file types, which take forever to transfer, especially because I'm sure there's going to be difficulties getting things off and on unless you're downloading and uploading. So in order to keep file sizes small, apparently, for the average user anyway, they're only going to allow you to do a clip that is 0.2 seconds, so 0.2 of a second long at 960 frames, which that 0.2 of a second then becomes 6 seconds with that many frames if you scale it down to 30 frames per second. So Really, no word on the resolution yet. There's no, and very likely you will be able to do some sort of 4K on these cameras because that is the wave of the future. However, what kind of high frame rates in 4K you'll be able to do is unknown. The 960 that I have seen so far looks like it's about 480p, and then they scale it up probably to 1080 because the image quality was pretty lacking at the size I was seeing it at. But yeah, still 960 frames per second. That's more than a 1DX Mark II. Hopefully this year we'll see some updates to the Canon Ovra of cameras. I believe we're due for a new 6D, so it'll be like a 6D Mark IV. Yeah. And I still doubt that we'll see that kind of frame rate out of camera 6D even. So the first one that's going to get even close to that's going to be the 1DX, and we're still probably 2 years out before we get a 1DX upgrade. So I don't know. That's just insane. In a phone, why do you need 960 frames per second? We're dwelling on this too much. We got to move on. The next bit is Instagram. They announced this week some really big changes to their algorithm. Most notably is the one that when you first post, your post is only going to be visible to 10% of your followers. 10%. So if you have 1,000 people that follow you, only 100 of them are going to see your post initially. And then, however those people react to it then deems how much more of your followers get to see it in their feed. Otherwise, they're going to have to actively search out your page to see all of your... That's just insane. That's ridiculous. Why? Why would they do it? It's because Facebook owns them now, and they're doing horrible things with their algorithm. And then they're going to start spam blocking people who use a bunch of hashtags altogether. So they want you to disperse your hashtags throughout your post so it's more organic. I can get behind that one because it does get a little ridiculous. I know I'm guilty myself sometimes of doing block hashtags at the bottom, just because that's the name of the game with Instagram, is you do a bunch of hashtags so that people can see your stuff. But they're changing that now. So that's kind of whatever. Another thing is when you change a caption, that's more likely to diminish how many people see it in your followers, because it's going to be seen as spam for some reason. So if you mess up a post, if instead of going in to edit that post, just delete it and then repost it. And there's a whole list of things that they've changed. Those are just kind of the big ones in my eyes. And another one that's kind of a bonus, kind of help to offset some of the negative things that they've done, because basically all of this was negative except for this one thing, which is use your stories. The more you use your stories, the more they see you're a real person and not spam, and the more likely people are going to see your story and see your posts. And then following hashtags is a new thing you can do. So if you follow a hashtag and you also use that hashtag, then you're slightly more likely to be visible inside of the hashtag when people are following it. I don't know, just really, it makes you want to switch to a different social media. And from what I've seen so far, the new social media for that is Vera, V-E-R-A, which is a brand new social media platform that looks like they claim that they are not going to use algorithms to mess with your feed. If somebody posts something that you follow, or it's your friend and they post something, you're going to see it when it gets posted. So your feed is going to be like Facebook, like Instagram was when it first started. It's going to be chronological, and when it gets posted, it gets posted. And if you follow 1 million different people and they all post at once, you're going to get 1 million different posts all at once. Instagram used to be the great place to go, and now it's kind of, I don't know, dying. Nah, probably not dying, but just not as user-friendly as it once was. Anyway.
And then the last bit that we're going to talk about on this Week in Nerdom supplemental. I know I probably said that before, but that was when I recorded on Sunday, and this is something that I really felt like was... I could have added this to next week's supplemental, but I felt like since I was going to be adding the other two bits, that it would make sense to just add this last one just because it's super interesting. So the bit that I'm talking about is Rob Scallon, who we talked about a few times before on the supplemental. He's a musical YouTuber. He's a heavy metal, generally speaking, YouTuber. He posted a video this week that was getting delay and effect and also reverb without effects. So as an audio engineer, like, it's incredibly interesting, and it also gives you a new appreciation for effects in general, just specifically the two effects that he was going for. What he did was he got two of his friends to record the delay. So it's an acoustic song, and they're each playing a different guitar, and they learned it somehow to be like milliseconds behind each other, and it gives you an appreciation. It gives you an appreciation for not just the effects, but also what it takes to document a performance, what it takes to record someone doing a thing with music. Because I think it took them something like 50 or 60 takes to get it just right, because they started playing in sync instead of as an echo, and they're also in this racquetball court, so it's super reverby, but the end result is amazing. So link for that is in the description, and yeah, definitely worth checking out, especially if you have any kind of interest or are yourself an audio engineer. This will give you a new appreciation for your effects. But I'm gonna cut back into the out sequence that we recorded last Sunday.
Okay. That is where we're going to end this week's supplemental episode. What did I miss all across this great nerddom this week, guys? Let me know in the comments down low. Also, let me know what we should talk about next week. Or if you want to go even deeper than that, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net is where you can go do that. Blog posts, freebies, social media, all of the store content. You can find all of that on the website, generallynerdy.net. If you are new to the channel, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell so that you get notified when I post new videos. And I do post videos almost every day. The only day I don't actually post a video for all you regular folk to see is Mondays. Otherwise, everything I post Tuesday through Sunday. And yeah, if you are a patron though, over on patreon.com/generallynerdy, then you get everything Monday through Saturday, and Sunday is the day I don't post. If you like this episode, click the like button. If you are running behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap that box right there to the left of my beautiful face to do that. But before you go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.